nirantara bhavena bhajita adha vimuktaye viraktaschindriyaratau bhakti yogena bhuyasa tam nirantara bhavena bhajitatha vimuktaye viraktacha. Completely renounced order of life. Indriyaratau, in the matter of sense gratification. Bhakti yogena, by the process of devotional service. Bhuyasa, with great seriousness. Tam, unto him, the Supreme. Nirantara, constantly, 24 hours daily. Bhavena, in the topmost stage of ecstasy. Bhajeta, must worship. Adha, directly. Vimuktaye, for liberation. Translation. If one is very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy, and he must certainly be aloof from all activities of sense gratification. Purport. There are different stages of perfection according to different persons' objectives. Generally, people are karmis, for they engage in activities of sense gratification. Above the karmis are the jnanis, who are trying to become liberated from material entanglement. Yogis are still more advanced because they meditate on the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And above all these are the devotees who simply engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. They are situated seriously on the topmost platform of ecstasy. Here Dhruva Maharaj is advised that if he has no desire for sense gratification, then he should directly engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The path of apavarga, or liberation, begins from the stage called moksha. In this verse, the word vimuktaye, for liberation, is especially mentioned. If one wants to be happy within this material world, he may aspire to go to the different material planetary systems where there is a higher standard of sense gratification, but real moksha, or liberation, is performed without any such desire. This is explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by the term Anya Vilashita Shunya, without desire for material sense gratification. For persons who are still inclined to enjoy material life in different stages or on different planets, the stage of liberation in Bhakti Yoga is not recommended. Only persons who are completely free from the contamination of sense gratification can execute Bhakti Yoga, or the process of devotional service, very purely. The activities on the path of apavarga up to the stages of dharma, artha and kama are meant for sense gratification. But when one comes to the stage of moksha, the impersonalist liberation, the practitioner wants to merge into the existence of the Supreme. But that is also sense gratification. When one goes above the stage of liberation, however, he at once becomes one of the associates of the Lord to render transcendental loving service. That is technically called vimukti. For this specific vimukti liberation, Narada Muni recommends that one directly engage himself in devotional service. Viraktaschendriyaratau bhakti yogena bhuyasa tam nirantara bhavena bhaje tadha vimuktaye. If one is very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy, and he must certainly be aloof from all activities of sense gratification. So this is just about before Dhruva Maharaj is leaving home, leaving for the forest. Dhruva Maharaj was very sincere towards his guru, and he said, I cannot follow what you are telling me, so do you have any other instructions? And Narada Muni gave him other instructions. So this is a very nice example how a disciple, when he cannot follow certain things, he should ask his guru for help and guidance how to proceed and what to do in order to move forward, in order to advance. And Dhruva, but he admitted that he is not, that he has Kshatriya blood, and that somehow he has an urge to revenge. Narada Muni first gave him very high instructions, but then he said, I cannot follow this. Do you have something else? And he said, yes. And he gave him other instructions. And with these instructions, he was listening up to this point to his instructions and circumambulated Narada Muni and left for the forest to do what his guru has told him to do. And as we know from the story, he achieved success. So following the instructions of the spiritual master is always favorable, because these instructions are actually coming from Krishna. If the guru is a transparent media, then he is inspired by Krishna how to guide the disciple, and in one sense, this is a very intuitive service. Then one has to be guided in order to give the best possible instruction to a disciple. Or if someone is like an advisor or a mentor or spiritual guide, counselor, then they also, it's even if you're a life coach, it's a very intuitive service. You can learn techniques and get very trained in the principles and practices of coaching, but best coaches actually, they're also somehow guided, and they ask the right question, and they also say the right thing so that the client can advance. He can move towards his goals, solve his problems and achieve his goals. So Srila Prabhupada said that when Guru speaks, that means Krishna is speaking through his mouth. When Guru writes, Krishna is writing through his writing, and he's an instrument in Krishna's hands. We want to become instruments in Krishna's hands, because then our activities will be perfect. So when we are perfectly guided by Krishna, then our action is perfect. That's the perfection of action. Arjuna was asking Krishna, please drive my chariot between the two armies. So we pray to Krishna to drive the chariot of our lives, to use this body and the mind that we have properly in His service. So scriptures always give different options. What do we want? Do we want dharma, artha, kama, moksha, or prema? Always there is different options, and we can always see what we want. And then act accordingly. And Vedic regulations are there so that we can fulfill our desires, but at the same time not degrade ourselves. Srila Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, one should purify his heart gradually, not abruptly. Gradually, not abruptly. So nobody can just get purified in few days. It's a process, and we have been conditioned for so many lifetimes, and now we've got 10 years, 20 years. It's not enough to get completely purified. So sometimes we say we have to be realistic, what you can do. Sometimes we have an ambition. I remember when I joined, I wanted to get purified in few days. And that means like doing some austerities, fasting, getting up very early, sleeping very little, and it didn't work. Then I thought what I was doing is austerity, but then when I was given a bag of books to go out, then I understood, this is much greater austerity to approach people and be rejected all the time. And devotee said, this is a superior authority, to preach and to tolerate. And you can freeze, you cannot sleep, and you cannot eat, but this is not as great or as hard as approaching people and being rejected all the time. And I was rejected a lot. Now I don't know about other devotees. And my most difficult realization on Sankirtan was that I was sitting, I think it was in Croatia, I was sitting on the bench and offering yogurt and bananas and crying that I realized that I don't care about these people. That I'm supposed to approach and give them the mercy, give them the benefit of the books. But somehow I continued, and I was very unsuccessful in book distribution. But fortunately, devotees, they engaged me in book production or translation, so somehow I was connected to the books. And at that time, the books were stressed very much by our leader and my former spiritual master. And so everybody's into books, and if you didn't have a connection with the books, you were a kind of inferior. So at least I was translating, and occasionally sometimes we would go out a little bit. But purification didn't come very quickly, and it's still going on. So in the process of devotional service, patience is required. One has to be patient. So there is two things, divine patience and divine impatience. So divine patience we apply to others. We are patient divinely with others because they have to find their own pace. and they have to decide how fast they want to advance. But divine impatience we apply to ourselves. We don't want to be too patient with our spiritual advancement, otherwise it may be too slow. But we want to speed up if possible, as much as possible, and make a sincere effort to go forward, to advance, to get purified, to give up material desires. In the Bhagavatam it is said that only uninterrupted and unmotivated service can satisfy the soul. Ahaituki apratihada yenatma suprasidati. This is the supreme dharma, paradharma, savai pumsam paro dharmo, yato bhakti adokshaja. Bhakti to adokshaja, bhakti to Krishna. If it's uninterrupted and unmotivated, then it can only fully satisfy the soul. So sometimes devotees come to me and say, oh, I'm not happy. And then sometimes we discuss this verse and say, so maybe you are not happy because your devotional service is not uninterrupted and it's not unmotivated. You have to check this. So the question is your devotional service interrupted by fruitive activities? Is your devotional service interrupted by karma, jnana, yoga, some of these things? And then you can find the cause of your dissatisfaction. And what is your motive? What do you want to achieve? Do you want more money? Do you want fame? Do you want other kinds of sense gratification? What do you want by doing devotional service? Sometimes people want to keep their material attachments and then also be known and respected as serious devotees. This usually doesn't work. It may work for some time, but then it becomes exposed and then they get in trouble or people disrespect them or they get all kinds of problems. So this kind of a... Then sometimes we ask them, so why are you here? I mean, if you want these material things, there is so much scope to get these things outside. Why you have to pretend that you're a spiritualist? And sometimes they say, well, I don't want to be a materialist, but I'm not a spiritualist, so I don't know what to do. And it boils down to deciding what you want to do. You choose. You have a choice. What do you want to do? Every day we have to decide, do we want to be in Maya or we want to be Krishna conscious? And it's like a constant test that is happening. So, a devotee who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, he finds out what is this that pleases Krishna, what is this that will make him advance. So Dhruva was very sincere. He asked his guru how he can please him. He couldn't please him in one way, so he asked, how can I please you in another way? And how can I make advancement and achieve what I want? And Narada Muni gave him these instructions, and he was following, and he was fully successful. After 6 months, he was able to see Siddhas flying in the sky, floating. He was chanting the mantra he got. And this is the secret of success, to follow. Even in the material world, they say that you should learn from the experts, or you should stand on the shoulders of giants. So follow in the footsteps of those who were successful. So we have in our scriptures, we have so many success principles that are people teaching outside and charging a lot for these courses, but they are already there in our books. like learning from the experts, we also have this following in the footsteps of previous acharyas, also Mahajano Yenagataksapanta, following the footsteps of Mahajans, learning what they have done and how they have executed devotional service, and just doing the same thing. We don't want to imitate, but follow as much as possible, according to time, place, and circumstances. So we see that our acharyas, they showed great respect and care for devotees. And Krishna is very much pleased. Srila Prabhupada said to Tamar Krishna Maharaj, if you take care of Krishna's devotees, Krishna will take care of you. So even from the purely selfish point of view, taking care of Krishna's devotees is beneficial. As it is said, charity begins at home. We want to save the world, but our devotees are leaving. So many people have joined this movement and so many people have left, and most of them complain that I left because nobody cared about me properly. Nobody was interested in me. And ask those who stayed, they would say at least that when I joined, somebody took nice care of me. Then later on, maybe it wasn't needed so much, but very personal care. And my experience is very positive in ISKCON. And I just feel very obliged to try to give something back. But not everyone has this experience. And Prabhupada said, if people leave, 50% is our responsibility. We may say they're not sincere and they're in Maya and they want something else, but actually 50% at least is our responsibility. And when I hear the word outreach, I just get scared. Preaching, outside preaching. These days I just get almost goosebumps. Why? Because I know these people will come to our movement and nobody will take care of them. Nobody will take care of them properly, and they will just get lost or leave or go to some other group or whatever. At one point Srila Prabhupada said, now we have enough members and now train them, take care of them, boil the milk. Several times in his letters you can see. So I'm not against preaching, that's nice. Harinam, book distribution, programs, festivals, attracting people to Krishna consciousness, but we have to have a system. We have to have a plan where we are leading them, where we are bringing them. And maybe you have heard this so many times, but still it's not working 100%, so we have to speak about it again and again. And try also to work to establish it practically in different forums and meetings and committees. And there is, some of you know, Global GBC Devotee Care Committee. And it's a very dynamic group. When I see what they are doing or what they are planning to do, I feel a great hope for this movement and a great hope for leadership. I was trying to help with leadership development in the movement a little bit with my newsletter and with courses and whatever. I'm working with leaders, coaching like that. But now with this devotee care group, there is a great hope because they are so determined to basically help change the culture. Everybody is speaking about the culture change. We want to have a more caring culture. But then when the rubber meets the road, when it boils down to practicalities, there is so much room for improvement. I give you an example of misalignment. Alignment means that you do what you profess is your value. You say, we value care. Like you say, we value devotee care. Let's say you are a temple president. You say, we value devotee care because this is what we said. In ISKCON we want to value devotee care. The devotee comes to you and say, my dear temple president, I don't have socks. And you say, well, pray to Krishna. or ask your parents. We don't have money. We are in debt. So this is not alignment of your professed mission. Maybe you don't have money, but at least you can say, well, I do my best to help you find socks. We cannot buy them at the moment. Our treasury is empty, but I'll do my best. I'll ask some devotees, or maybe you can ask this one. His parents are very rich. He has 16 socks. Or not 16, but like 60 socks. 60 pairs of socks because he gets so much. So, and show just very sympathy for the socks. But not just say, I can't believe it. I mean, it's 2011, and I was just in one temple in Europe. I can't tell you where it is. It's confidential. And the Pujari said, when I asked my leader that we need this and that, and this is a big temple, big altar, he said, go out and collect money if you need something. With devotees just doing whole day is doing deity services. There is so many deities on the altar in that temple. It's a huge altar, and he was asked to go out and collect for his or her needs. I was shocked. So we all know what is the ideal, but we are not following it. There is a gap, and we have to start doing this. I recommend that you read Mother Teresa, She's very practical. She says charity begins at home. You maybe profess high ideals, but you have to start with your family. Those who are around you, either your family or the devotees you live with, it's also like a family, and like that. So, I heard yesterday that Krishna Kshetra Prabhu said, and I would kind of humbly request him to maybe explain a little bit about this, the vertical and horizontal, what was this? What is it?
Vertical bhakti.
Bhakti, yes.
And horizontal.
Uh-huh. Could you explain?
Just that serving Krishna, like Krishna is up here, down, so that's vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Horizontal is bhakti amongst the devotees, service amongst the devotees.
So our bhakti, devotional service and devotion goes like this and like that. So we tend to forget this. We tend to forget. Especially we tend to forget this, which is immediate people who are just right around us. And that's not good. We have to look who is around us and actually be grateful that we have association with devotees. What does the Bible says about your neighbor? Mahaprabhu? What is Bible? What? Neighbor, and who else? Who is even closer to you than your neighbor? from yourself? You don't know. No, we are speaking about this bhakti, not this bhakti. Who is closer than the neighbor? It's amazing. What? Family. So believe it or not, we should love our family. And this means behaving kindly. We have everything in our movement. We have the best philosophy. We have the best food. We have deity worship. We have temples. Srila Prabhupada has given us Varnashram system. We have everything. And if we add one thing, then we will be irresistible. Our movement, just people, if they join, they couldn't leave. And that ingredient that is missing is how we relate to each other. See, sometimes you can see a scene in the ISKCON temple. There is a guest and there is two devotees quarreling or talking as if they hate each other, and people are looking like this. What was this story that somebody said they never want to join, or they don't want to change clothes? Because says, I like you people, but actually I don't want to become your member because you treat your guests much better. So I want to remain a guest. I don't want to join because the way you treat your people is not very, very nice. So this has to change. And this means day by day, moment by moment, situation by situation. And this means you. It doesn't mean just the temple president or the leaders. It means you. How do you relate to others? Do you like to speak to people or about people? Do you like to speak behind people's back or to people's face? You heard about, I smile to your face and I criticize you behind your back. This kind of culture will not help. The devotee is loyal to the absent. He doesn't want to speak about people unless he speaks with somebody how to help, how to serve that person. But whatever you say about anyone, you should be able to say to them too. But better don't say it, wait until they come. So, there's so many things that we know, but we don't follow. Just basic, common sense things. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, we are attempting to be transcendental before even being human. Before even being human. Principles of goodness are so much stressed. Their importance is so much stressed in the scriptures. And we can see the examples of the behavior of saintly personalities, how they behave, how they are tolerant, patient, how they are always well-wishing friends of everyone. In the 5th canto, the inhabitants of Jambudvip offer prayers, and Prahlad Maharaj offers one prayer. He says, may there be good fortune for everyone in the universe, and may all envious living entities become pacified. And that may everyone be engaged in bhakti yoga, for by accepting devotional service they will think of each other's welfare. We discussed it on our Sangha a few days ago, about, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport about thinking of each other's welfare. This is a basic principle of community development, developing caring communities. And this thinking of others' welfare is stressed so many times in Srila Prabhupada's books. In the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna speaks about the austerity of the mind, in the purport Srila Prabhupada says, one should do two things. Always read Vedic literature and think of the welfare of others. Always read Vedic literature and think of the welfare of others. So to train the mind to think of the welfare of others. Now, sometimes devotees, in one city in Croatia, devotees complain to me that our mentors, when we have a one-to-one meeting, they start to speak about their problems. And it seems that they need a mentor, or they need some caretaker, and they seek shelter. So it's very important that those who provide care also are nicely taken care of, and they are not in need. So either they are very good and taking care of themselves, or they have also someone who takes care of them. I asked Niranjan Maharaj in Italy, how can we inspire people to care for people, for devotees? And he said, by caring for them. It's just a genius, simple, obvious thing that we don't see. That I didn't see, at least at that time. So if you want to take care of others, you also have to take care of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Then you can take care of others. And if you need help, don't be shy to ask. Sometimes people are shy to ask. They're embarrassed to ask for help. I need help. I need advice. I need clarification. And occasionally everyone needs someone to help them see the obvious. Everyone needs someone to help them see the obvious, because sometimes we are in a situation, we don't see something that is obvious. And someone comes and he says, but why don't you try this? Or what about this? Oh, I haven't thought about this. So that's why we need Guyam Akyati Prichati. We need deep conversations. We need confidential exchanges. We need to be able to talk to devotees regularly. We spoke the other day about peer coaching, because there is not so many people coming forward as mentors. I want to be a spiritual guide. I want to be a counselor. I want to be a mentor. Not so many people are coming forward, so therefore we have to arrange that devotees are taken care of, and then at least there is devotees that can actually coach each other or assist each other, mutual assistance, and that's called peer coaching or mutual assistance. And if they have some kind of a structure how to do it, then this association is much more effective than just having a chat over prasada. So they can speak about their problems, their goals, their hopes and dreams, and if you can just listen to people and ask them good questions, it's a big service, because they might discover something. They can listen to themselves speaking, how they are saying. So if you ask anybody, what do you want? Oh, I don't know. You ask them 10 times, what do you want? And you tell them, if you don't know what you want, even God cannot help you. Because if you come in front of me and say, my dear Lord, I don't know what I want. And then he says, well, how can I help you with that? I can tell you what to do, but will you follow? I can tell you what I want, but Can you follow? Do you want to follow? So basically there are three questions. What do you want? What are you going to do about it? And when? In life, there are three questions. With these three questions you can achieve all success if you take them serious. You clarify what you want, you decide what are you going to do about it, and then give yourself a deadline. Don't delay. If you don't push yourself, Maya will push you. So we have to start pushing ourselves over our limits. And as you know, there are three zones. Those who attended our mentor workshop the other day, we discussed this. There is a comfort zone, stretch zone, and panic zone. And I know whoever is attending ISKCON seminars, sometimes they to speak about this. So it's better prevention is better than cure. It's better to start pushing ourselves now than wait that material energy puts pressure on us. Because material energy is merciless. She will just push us in a nasty way. So better to be a good boy and just say, okay, I'm going to push myself every day a little bit. I can develop bigger capacity to push myself or be ready for maybe bigger tests or whatever. And it's coming for everyone. Maya doesn't care if you're a sannyasi or a bhakta beginner. She will just bluntly test everyone. And we see it's happening every single day. But if we understand that devotees are rare people, very precious people, and that we should take care of them nicely, then we actually get so much extra protection. Believe me, taking care of Krishna's devotees is purely selfish activity. To become selfless is purely selfish activity. Why? Because you benefit the most from this. You don't even know how this care, what results it will bring, and how each particular devotee will take this care, whether they will use it to their advantage. But you know for sure that Krishna is pleased by your effort to serve others, to serve other devotees. So the best self-interest is to serve devotees. Nāte vidu svakakatim hi Vishnu. People don't know the real self-interest. And also we understand that the best motivator is self-interest. The best motivator is self-interest. Everybody is motivated by self-interest. In the scriptures there are so many examples of care for devotees, and Srila Prabhupada also, we are going to collect a lot of examples and stories how Srila Prabhupada cared for devotees, not only spiritually but also in other ways. And there is one example, there was Guru Puja with Srila Prabhupada. One devotee approached him, I think he had some kind of a scar, and Srila Prabhupada, during Guru Puja, while other devotees were glorifying him, worshipping him, he started talking to this devotee about his wound, his scar, and even I don't know if he had it with him or later, but he arranged for a medicine. And then later, when Srila Prabhupada would see a devotee that was wounded or ill, he would always remember, and when they would see them next time, he would ask them, how are you doing? This is like his care for health, for devotees' health. Lord Chaitanya also, in the Devotee Care Journal, somebody described, I'm not sure from which scripture, but they described it, Lord Chaitanya would sometimes even fold the clothes of devotees. He would serve them prasadam, he would put garlands around their necks, he would glorify them as if he has 5 mouths, panchamukha, but also he would fold their clothes. Sometimes devotees see like clothes thrown, maybe dry clothes or thrown in the brahmacharya ashram, and some devotees, when they see this mess, they say, oh, this is such a bad management. Or this devotee, this brahmachari is in tamoguna. So they see it as a problem that somebody is, how you say, not neat. But other devotees, they see it as a service opportunity. See, all this is very nice. There is so much clothes all over the place. I'm going to fold everything, and I'm going to put it in his on his shelf or in his bed. So two different approaches to the same thing. There is a messy clothes, and you can criticize, or you can take it as a service opportunity. Dhanavari Maharaj, when he was doing Bhakta program, I remember in 1990, the only time I was in India, he gave a Bhakta program seminar, and he was saying how he was training devotees, and he would have like post-it notes or something, and when the devotee's bed is not nice, he would put a sign, bad, or wrong, or this is not good, something like that. And then he realized this is not very inspiring, it's very negative. So he started just not putting any signs on the like messy beds or sleeping bags, whatever it is, I don't know. They have beds. And he would put a sign, wonderful or good or right, on those that were neat. And in this way he would encourage devotees to be more orderly. So Krishna's devotees are actually the most dear to Krishna on the planet, and if we serve them nicely and take care of their needs, all kinds of needs, then Krishna will be very pleased. And I told the other day, Grihastha said, if you don't preach anyway, you don't have time to preach, at least if you take care of Krishna's devotees, you will make great advancement. And that's also preaching. Because, we're building a caring community, it's the best preaching. Happy devotee is the best preaching. We want every devotee to be happy. So please don't think they should do it. Who is they? Temple Council, Temple President, GBC. No, you take responsibility. Each and every one of us has to take responsibility for devotee care. And there is so much knowledge inside ISKCON, outside ISKCON, how to build communities, how to do one-to-one assistance, coaching, counseling, all these things. We can learn how to do these things. These are Brahminical services. Everybody should learn these things. It's communication skills. And instead of being famous for just giving food for free, we should be famous for helping people build good character and being very caring community. This is what I think. ISKCON should be famous. Prabhupada was always saying, we are training people of high character. He didn't just say we are just distributing food. But if we want to help people develop their good character, we have to provide care. I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. So care and personal growth go together. So many devotees are scared to become spiritual guides. That's too much for them. But at least everyone can do something, something. If you cannot have a group that you take care of, as in the counselor system, you can choose anyone you like, 1, 2, 3 people, and provide some assistance, some service, and some care. 1, 2, 3. Even one person, even if there is one. And as I always say, start with those you like. Then when you make more advancement, then you can go to those you don't like, to serve them. But start with those, it's easy to serve the devotees we like, because we like them. We can do something for them. It's a pleasure. Start anywhere, go everywhere. That's the principle. And so, There is unlimited opportunity for serving devotees. And if you need knowledge, skills, materials, whatever, if you want to learn this, and this will not only help others, it will help you, because as you are assisting others, you will be able to help yourself even better. When I do coaching, I always help myself, because I understand, oh my God, I also have this problem. And then, wow, I have this challenge too. Then they say something, you learn from them also. It's a double benefit when you assist others in a personal way. But one requirement is needed. Just give up selfishness. Give up selfishness. Start thinking of others. And if you need to be taken care of, then this can be arranged too. We can teach you how to take care of yourself. I have a folder, self-care, self-help. This is all quotes by Prabhupada about taking care of ourselves. So we can learn from Srila Prabhupada how to take care of ourselves and how important it is. If you need, we can find a guide for you, or somebody who takes care of you, so that you can take care of others. It's like a chain. But we have to give up selfishness. Prahlad Maharaj said, give up envy and think of each other's welfare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions? Yes? Mm-hmm. Možemo da pitamo tvoju obitelj. Mr. Krishna, imagine that Krishna comes and says, I want to interview your family. You're a devotee. I want to interview your father, mother, brother, sister, children, wife, and ask them what they think about you. And based on this feedback, your next step in Krishna consciousness is dependent on. So, it is important. What is this? Drilling?
In the roof, they work.
Oh, okay. What they are making upstairs? Everything.
Renovating.
New.
It's leaking.
Something new. It's leaking. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
My question is sometimes, like you gave the example of Mother Teresa, like in her character and behavior, there may be some useful elements for our purpose, but we also, if we see as a whole her story, her main strategy was to give meat to vegetarians, she was agnostic and so on. So my
Meat?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. She was giving meat.
Massively distributing beef, chickens from Italy, the whole meat industries and lobbies behind her story and so on. Like she said that if you eat rice dal, you are undernourished, if you eat meat and so on. So
I didn't know that.
my question is how to make balance, how to remain in the frames of Guru Sadhu Shastra, how not to fall to this, gossip, superstition, sentimentalism, how to make proper balance in our purpose.
I mean, devotees, the good things that she said is that you should love people around you. You should be kind to your family and to your neighbors. And devotees sometimes they say, I don't want to be sentimental, and then they become krura. They become cruel. So, if you look at the scriptures, saintly devotees, they don't behave like that. Srila Prabhupada also, we can always take his example, how he was sometimes harder than the thunderbolt and softer than a rose. But devotees knew. They knew he cares about us, even if he chastises. Of course, sometimes it happened that some people didn't take it positively and they got offended or put off or insulted or hurt too much. But he was acting perfectly. He was guided by Krishna. And some people, they just were not ready. We just have to think twice before we do anything and how we deal with people. And also, if like 20 people tell us that something is not right, then maybe something is not right in our behavior. If we are so convinced that we are right, then we may get in trouble. Okay? Dali osobe koje dođu u kontakt sa Prabhupádovim knjigama. Are persons who come in touch with Prabhupada's books are liberated, or they have to get a spiritual master? And Krishna says that one should have a spiritual master. And books are the first, they get us in touch with the spiritual master, with our Shiksha Guru, Srila Prabhupada. But one should also have a Diksha Guru and take guidance and protection and connect to the parampara, get initiation. This is the system that Krishna gave. So people benefit by getting books, but they have to take up the process, the whole process of Krishna consciousness if they want to succeed, if they want to be successful, go back to Godhead. They need to connect to the parampara. So initiation is important, and to qualify and to choose a spiritual master, it's important. I heard some devotees are like against institution here. Institution is meant to help us. Institution is Krishna's arrangement and Srila Prabhupada's arrangement for us to have association, to have support, to have guidance. We can't do it alone. And in the association of devotees, our anarthas are tested. People say, I like Prabhupada's books, I don't like devotees. Because they are tested too much in the association of devotees. So this association of devotees is like a mirror. You can really see who you are. And one of the reasons why, apart from the reasons that we are not so caring, there is also another reason why people leave, is because it's too much for them. It's too much of a challenge. Because, you can see that you are not great. And you have a long way to go. So we need help of senior devotees. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also, he says, we have one Diksha Guru and many Shiksha Gurus. So we take guidance, support and guidance. We spoke about 4 roles of a spiritual guide: example, support, guidance, and challenge. So you need all these 4 things: example, support, guidance, and challenge. Okay, last question. Comment? Thank you, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.